I'm Dimitri Basilaris, guest host. I'm a talk host on News Radio 1020 KDK here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and an editorial page writer for the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. While no one doubts some major steps are needed to return the economy to stability, there are many who believe the Obama administration is going about it the wrong way. Now, in this portion of the program, we'll speak with a major libertarian voice in Congress, Republican Representative Dr. Ron Paul of Texas. He is a former presidential candidate, and he is an outspoken critic of the Federal Reserve. He is currently a member of the Joint Economic Committee and the House Financial Services Committee, where he serves as the Vice Chairman of the Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee. Dr. Paul is a leading spokesman for limited constitutional government, low taxes, free markets, and a return to a sound monetary policy. Dr. Paul, welcome to the Jim Bohannon Show. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you. Nice to be with you.
It's great to have you. Talking with you again. I've talked with you a number of different times. You're one of the few people inside the Beltway that I respect and admire because you've been telling it like it is for so long before it was ever popular. So tell me, did you have a chance to see the news conference tonight? And if so, what did you think of it?
I did not. I had other things in my schedule, and I did not get to see it, but I don't know how much I really missed. If there's anything special, you can ask me about it.
There didn't seem to be anything terribly special. Tell me about the state of the economy as you see it, Dr. Paul.
Well, I think it's in bad shape, and I think it's going to get worse, mainly because we're not doing the right things. Every so often, the mistakes that the Federal Reserve makes has to be cleansed out of the system, and we're not allowing that to happen. When you create a lot of money, you create bubbles, you cause a lot of malinvestment, you cause overinvestment, and you cause too much debt. And finally, it seizes up, and the consumers have too much debt, and businesses have too much debt, and governments have too much debt, and the system fails to function. We're at that point, so the only response we've had so far is, well, let's spend more money, let's inflate more money, let's borrow more money, but that's how we got into this trouble. And I'm afraid we're doing very much like we did in the Depression, not allowing the correction to come, and prolonging the agony. So I don't see an end to this very soon.
Okay, now one of the latest proposals by Timothy Geithner is a plan to allow the government to purchase institutions that are not banks, that are insurance companies and the like, including AIG. They made that announcement today. What have you heard about that, and what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that they're grasping at straws. Now they're buying up these companies. It's as close to socialism as you can get. The biggest problem I have with what's going on is that the Fed has been doing a lot of this. They've guaranteed loans, and they have extended loans to the tune of trillions of dollars. Nobody knows the exact amount, and they're not required to reveal anything to us. So this is just part of the process of patching up and keeping afloat all the mistakes that have been made, and the mistakes should be removed. They should be liquidated. The debt should be taken off the books. But instead, they're requiring the taxpayer to buy up all the bad debt. They're just looking around for victims today, and I think when they talk about buying these companies, that means they're bailing out rich people at the expense of the average taxpayer.
In your Texas Straight Talk weekly column, the headline of one of your think pieces is "Bankruptcy is Economic Stimulus." Help me understand what that means.
What we want to do is stimulate the economy and get back to buying things again. And the best thing is to find out what the real value is. They claim that the real problem is, and you've heard this term so often, that the assets are illiquid. Well, many of those assets are illiquid. There's a good reason for that. They don't have any value to them. And if you can get those off the books, the good assets then become identified in those people who have saved cash. And believe me, there's a lot of cash out there, and there's a lot of individuals who are frugal and paid their bills and didn't run up these big debts. And when the prices get down and you can sort this out, then the economy comes back again. So there's a purpose. The market has a purpose of having a recession or depression, and that is to get things back on the right footing. And we have just done everything conceivable to prevent that from happening.
How could they be called assets if they have no value? I don't understand that thinking.
Well, I think they do that on purpose, and I think that they want the taxpayer to think they're buying something. Oh, there's a chance we might make some profits. But I mean, even this news thing. Just think of many different programs they've announced. I bet there's 10 different programs they've announced to solve these problems. And a week ago, it caused the market to go down. Yesterday, it caused the market to go up. And they keep thinking, well, just finally they're going to get rid of these things. But it means though that Wall Street gets the benefit and the little guy gets the punishment. So how's the little guy going to solve the problem and help get back on its feet again if they get stuck with all these bills? And sometimes it's indirect, sometimes it's through direct taxation, but other times it's indirect taxation. That is, when the Fed creates all this money and buys up all these assets, it means it dilutes the value of every dollar that the people have saved. So the very people who did their job right, they were frugal and saved their money and had money in a CD, they're being undermined because that money will lose its value. People aren't concerned about that right now, but in a short period of time, in a year or two, you're going to see all this monetary inflation be translated into higher prices, which means everybody's going to be a lot poorer.
So am I going to need a wheelbarrow full of dollar bills in order to buy a loaf of bread?
If we continue to do what we're doing, that might happen. I think it'll end. I think there'll be a panic stage when people will finally wake up and say we have to quit doing it. But if you keep creating trillions and trillions of dollars, the dollar has to lose value. If not, we have a pretty good deal. We've had a pretty good deal for a couple decades because instead of using gold, they used the dollar. People would take $1 and take our dollars, give us goods, and they would put them in the bank and use them as reserves to build up their currency so we got to export our inflation. And if they continue to do that, Americans don't have to work anymore, and that would be a good deal for us. We would just have our government print money and send us checks and let somebody else provide services for us and send us food, and we wouldn't have to work. But
yeah, but
everybody knows that won't happen.
Even the Chinese are catching on to that, it seems. So.
Yeah, they're expressing a little bit of concern about it, and but they can't really stop it all. If they do, it ruins their trillion. They own $1 trillion. They've already made their mistakes by taking all that money from us, giving us all those goods, and now they have to worry about their investments. They've loaned that money back to us. It keeps the thing going for a while, but now the Chinese should have a lot to worry about.
My guest is Dr. Ron Paul, congressman from Texas, and he has been talking about the importance of a sound dollar for a very, very long time. If you'd like to talk with him, here is the phone number. It's 1-866-505-4626. That's 1-866-50-JIMBO, and call right now. I am Dimitri Vassilaris, guest hosting tonight for the Jim Bohannon program, and we'll be right back after this short break.